Howdy folks, I'm reliable common roadside skipper, readily reclining along rural roads.
I'm Amber.
And here are more rural roads for us to recline along, except for they weren't roads all along, they were Reddit stories, and we're not reclining, we're sitting on the edges of our seat. Oh, and folks, if this is your first time viewing or you're a new subscriber, then welcome! This is a show where we teach you how to get dressed for the next 20 minutes.
No, we definitely don't, but we do have a live stream coming up tomorrow.
Yes, we have a live stream coming up tomorrow. We hope to see you then. Let's get started. For more information, please see the end of the video. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Kicking My Sister-in-Law and Her Daughter Out After My Niece Ruined My Daughter's Junior Prom Dress? I'm a 30-year-old female and I'm married to my wife, Viv, a 40-year-old female, and we've been together since our daughter, Kayla, a 14-year-old female, was a toddler. Well, about 5 months ago, my sister-in-law, Tina, and her daughter, Aubrey, a 17-year-old female, came to stay with us. Tina left her home with Aubrey for a short while after her soon-to-be ex-husband served her with divorce papers, and we offered our guest rooms while she got back on her feet. Well, things were fine at first, but I started noticing that Aubrey was getting a little too fixated on Kayla. They grew close quickly, which seemed sweet at first, but then it got kind of intense. Like, she would always ask where Kayla was going, would get moody if she had plans without her, and kept talking about how nobody else gets me like she does. Nothing too dramatic, just little things that added up. Kayla, to her credit, tried to be patient, but you could tell that she was starting to feel smothered. I brought it up to Viv a couple of times, like maybe we should try to give the girls a little bit of breathing room away from each other. But Viv brushed it off, calling it kids being kids, that it was harmless and that Aubrey needed her cousin's support with everything that was going on. Tina had the same kind of response when I gently mentioned it, just that they're just close, that's not a bad thing. Then came the dress. Kayla was invited to her school's junior prom by one of her friends. We went shopping. She found a beautiful dress that she was so excited about. The dance is next Friday, and she had been counting the days. Well, earlier this week, I went to pick up Kayla from her gymnastics practice, and Viv was still at work. When we got home, Kayla ran upstairs to her bedroom and came down a few minutes later, completely sobbing. The dress was ruined, ripped down the side, cut up lace, and the zipper was completely broken. I immediately confronted Aubrey and Tina. There was no one else home. Aubrey admitted to doing it within a minute, and her first words were basically, well, she was supposed to stay at home with me. No shame, no apology. Tina jumped in, trying to downplay it, saying that Aubrey just had a moment, and that she didn't mean to ruin the dress. But then I asked how she didn't notice her daughter ripping apart the dress in the next room, and Tina slipped, saying that she saw Aubrey enter my daughter's room and apparently heard some noises, but thought that she was just venting. I told them that they needed to pack their stuff and leave. I wasn't going to let Kayla sleep under the same roof with someone who just destroyed something so personal to her. She cried for almost an hour that night. Now my father-in-law and mother-in-law are mad because Tina didn't have the money for a hotel, so they had to cover it. They also don't want things to be awkward when Easter Sunday comes around. They want me to apologize to Tina for kicking her out instead of handling things more civilly. Viv initially told me that she agrees with my decision to kick them out and that I didn't need to apologize because what Aubrey did was wrong. But she keeps saying things like maybe we could have talked things out first, and that Aubrey was probably just upset in the moment and it was an accident. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk? Accident or not an accident?
Absolutely not the jerk, and this was not an accident. You don't oopsies destroy someone's dress like this. This was very intentional, and honestly, Aubrey needs therapy. It's clear that she is having some kind of difficulties, whether it's the divorce itself or it's, she has struggles making friends and whatnot. But the way she is clinging to, oh goodness, I forgot her name. But the way she's clinging to OP's daughter is not healthy and is not good for Kayla.
I think that there is room for this to be an accident. I mean, have you ever seen a movie called Chicago where someone runs into someone's knife 10 times? I mean, it happens often enough. I mean, I think that was like basically like a documentary type of thing. So, I mean, sometimes these things happen, you walk into a room with a pair of scissors and you just keep tripping and falling on a dress with your scissors. That's why they say don't run with scissors, kids. So I could see how this is an accident. Totally.
Yeah, no, this is not an accident. It was very deliberate. And Kayla needs to learn how to deal with rejection and with people doing things without her. without resorting to manipulation tactics and destruction of property.
Yeah, I think Kayla is the daughter and Aubrey is the one who was
Yeah,
kicked out. So
whichever way.
yeah, whichever way it is. I know what you're saying, but I just wanted to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that, the thing is that there's a lot of stuff going on in Aubrey's life right now, and I can understand her being like distraught and emotionally unstable, right? And I mean, being a kid is already hard enough. Then you throw in a divorce and a new home and someone who you think is your BFF type of situation, and things can start to run high here. And so I think that they should be getting her into counseling as soon as possible, because this is just not a normal or proportionate reaction to having a friend of yours go to an event that you can't go to.
Well, that's it. Like, I understand being disappointed.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes my sister would get invited places and I would be disappointed that I didn't get to go to those things. But I didn't go around destroying her stuff to make her stay home. I might sulk, and so there are, like, it's perfectly healthy to feel some level of disappointment when people are doing things without you. But you have to find constructive ways to cope with it, and you should not try and like manipulate and force someone into being with you all the time.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, on our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Wearing Clothes That My Mom Bought for Me? And Amber wants to read this one.
This feels silly, but it's caused a stink in my friend group. I'm a 21-year-old female, and I'm pretty alternative looking, piercings, tattoos, etc., etc. My mom is very well-meaning and loves that I express myself. I recently went through a very difficult situation, and to make me feel better, my mom bought me a bunch of clothes she thought I'd like. Unfortunately, the clothes are from a controversial company, Dolls Kill. I won't get into why Dolls Kill is controversial, but they have had racist scandals in the past, among other things. I told her they were cute, and I loved her and appreciated the sentiment. I told her I would prefer not to support the brand, but she already bought the clothes, so I was going to wear them, and they were a very sweet gift. I wore one of the dresses out to dinner with some friends, and one of them immediately clocked that it was a Dolls Kill dress and asked why I was wearing it. I explained my mom bought them and that she didn't know about the company, she just saw clothes she thought I would like. My friends started saying my mom needs to do her research and that I should have refused the clothes altogether and refused to wear them due to their scandals. I told them that the clothes were already purchased, any damage done has already been done, and I am not going to berate my mom for trying to do a sweet thing that just so happened to come from a negative company. A few of my friends have decided that I am an unsafe person to be around because I won't get rid of the clothes and even wore them to an event. I feel like this is silly. They're just clothes and I didn't buy them for myself, and now my mom won't purchase from that company either. Am I the jerk? Edit, let me make some things clear. I am not a white woman. My mother is not a white woman. I don't know why that's relevant, but I am black and so is my mom. I am as far left as they come, which means I give a darn about actual issues and not berating my mother for purchasing me a gift. They were final sale clearance. Some of them were returnable, but I told my mom not to worry about it.
All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, like Opie said, the clothes were already bought.
Mm-hmm.
And while I understand the brand itself is problematic, it's not like these were like swastika clothes or something. Like, as long as there wasn't anything visibly identifying them as like racist or, homophobic, transphobic, any of that kind of stuff, like.
So, I think that it's a delicate situation. I understand like people being maybe disappointed, but OP, I think, said it really well here. Their mother bought the clothes. It's not like they can return them at this point in time. And I think it was a really sweet gift. The mother saw something that they thought OP would like and would wear. They were right. The thing is that OP does like these types of clothes. And it just happened to come from a company that OP didn't want to support. But like OP said, the damage has been done. You can't unsell the clothes at this point in time, right? And I would wonder if the friends would have a problem if someone bought, secondhand clothes, from a company that maybe not necessarily the best company. Is that going to have like the same kind of, implication? I mean, the company already has the money, right? You're not giving additional money to a company once you buy it secondhand or something like that. And I mean, everyone's going to have to live with the ethics of any situation. And if OP can live with this and is fine with it, then that's really what matters here. And if the friends were in a similar situation and they wouldn't be able to live with it, that's their decision too, but they can't impose that upon OP.
Well, and I wonder why they're so tuned into what dolls kill looks like if they're not invested in the brand themselves. Like, if I
That's a
you
good question.
if you were to show me a bunch, like, I love alternative fashion, but if you were to show me a bunch of like alternative fashion clothes, I wouldn't be able to point out which ones are dolls kill because I don't follow their content anymore. And so, I mean, unless these people are like actively like watching the brand still, I don't know why they'd be able to point out and be like, that's a dolls kill dress.
Yeah, and that's a good question. It's a really good question. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for getting my sister arrested after she destroyed my clothes? So I'm a 24-year-old female and I live with my younger sister, a 21-year-old female. While we both saved up for our own places, it's been mostly fine. But lately, she's been acting super jealous and petty over the dumbest of stuff, especially my clothes. I work a decent job and I like fashion. I saved up and occasionally treat myself to nice things. Think Zara, Abercrombie, nothing outrageous, but definitely stuff that she doesn't buy herself. She constantly borrows my clothing without asking, and I've asked her to stop multiple times. Even put a lock on my closet door, which she broke. Last week was the final straw. I came home from work and I found a pile of my clothes, my favorite leather jacket, some designer jeans, a silk dress that I wore once, all shredded and slashed up on the floor, like someone went full slasher movie on them. My heart dropped. I asked her what had happened, and she just smirked and said, maybe now you'll stop acting like you're better than everyone else. I completely lost it. I called the police and I filed a report. She thought that I was bluffing until the cops actually showed up. I showed them the damage, the receipts for the clothes. I kept most of them for returns or resale, and the broken closet door. She was arrested and charged for property damage. Now my parents are freaking out, saying that I took it too far and that she's just a kid and that family shouldn't call the cops on each other. But I've had enough. That wasn't an accident or a dumb prank. It was straight up malicious. So am I the jerk for pressing charges on my own sister? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. And she's 21 years old. She is not just a kid. Like, this was a calculated decision. She decided to destroy your things to, like, bring you down a notch in her eyes.
Yeah.
She doesn't like that you have nicer things than her, and so she decided to destroy your things. That is a crime, and you're just holding her accountable for her actions.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's pretty straightforward, pretty clear cut in that respect. Like, she broke into OP's stuff. She destroyed OP's property. She knows better. She's 21. And she shouldn't be destroying other people's property. And she did this out of spite and malice. It wasn't like an accident. Like in the first one where, you know, she fell into the dress a bunch of times with a pair of scissors. This one was malicious and, you know, intended to happen. So, I mean, like, I think that there's a big difference between those two types of situations.
I mean, well, I think there is a difference between the two situations, but it's not in that. It's like this one is just very clearly jealousy motivated. Yeah. Whereas, you know, in the first situation, you know, obviously the girl is going through a hard time and she is an actual child. And she still needs to not do that, and there need to be consequences. But this, you know, she's a full-on adult. This is just pure jealousy, and she needs to learn you can't get away. Like, the problem with the parents' approach is like they just want OP to sweep it under the rug. What's to keep OP's stuff safe? Like, if the sister can just destroy anything she wants of OP's and there are no consequences, that does not like create a safe home situation for OP. And you should be able to feel secure in your own home and not worry about what is my sister going to destroy of mine next.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope that she won't be living there anymore after this. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for making my daughter wear a dress to a party? So I have a daughter, a 15-year-old female, who usually prefers dressing casually and doesn't generally like wearing skirts and dresses. I don't really have a problem with this, usually as long as it's appropriate. Recently, my daughter wanted to go to her best friend's Sweet 16. I had no problem with this, obviously. I thought that she already picked out something nice to dress in. But when she was about to go, she was literally in sweatpants and a t-shirt. I didn't have a problem with her wearing that normally, but not to a birthday party, especially her best friend's Sweet 16. She said it's what she likes wearing, but I said there's no way she's attending a party like that. She has a nice blue dress that her cousin gifted to her a few months ago, and she's never worn it. I asked her to put it on because it would look good on her and she could match with her friend. She refused for a minute until I told her that if she didn't wear it just this once, I would start making her dress more feminine from now on. She ultimately agreed and wore the dress and had a lot of fun at the party. Apparently her friend really liked the dress too, but my husband thinks that I went too far. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP, you are a jerk and a major jerk. You should not weaponize this kind of thing against, like, if you think sweatpants aren't okay for a birthday party, it's fine to ask your daughter to put on something a little more formal. But to stipulate it has to be a dress and to use the threat of, well, if you don't wear this dress right now, I'm going to make you wear more feminine stuff in the future is not okay and is traumatic. Like, this reminds me a bit of something I went through as a teenager where like there was this formal dance and I was made to wear a dress in it, and yes, I had fun when I was there, but afterward I felt really bad because of how much people were like really into this idea like of me in a dress, like, oh, why don't they like the real me, why do they only like me when I'm in a dress? And it actually turned me off of dresses for a very, very long time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a really important thing to say. And I think that, the daughter, while she might have enjoyed it in the moment, forcing somebody and coercing someone into wearing something that they don't want to is never a good thing, right? And I mean, certainly I understand the mother wanting her to wear maybe something other than sweatpants, because sweatpants might not be necessarily the most appropriate thing, especially if the friend was dressing up. But maybe there needs to be like a deeper discussion about why the daughter, if there's something else going on, whether she gets made fun of for how she gets dressed, or something else where maybe she can go into therapy if there's like other issues at play here. But if she just likes not wearing dresses, that's perfectly fine and that's perfectly acceptable, right?
Right. And I mean, I guess a lot of younger fashion is kind of athleisure and whatnot, so it's not like surprising that she would like to wear that. But again, I understand if this is like a fancy thing, OP asking her daughter to dress more formally.
Yeah.
But it should be some kind of formal garment that her daughter still is in her wheelhouse, whether it's a jumpsuit, pants and a nice shirt, whatever, what have you. She should have been allowed to have the option about what type of item.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't try and it seems like OP is upset that her daughter doesn't dress more femininely in general from the way she's using this as a threat. And that kind of thing can be emotionally scarring for children. So don't do that. Accept your daughter as she is. It's fine to talk about, again, have distinctions between this is when we wear sweatpants and this is when we wear something nicer, but don't make it about you have to wear a dress.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the moon don a tiara and scarf while traveling around the earth?
Oh, well, I can tell you exactly why. It's because the moon is a princess, and the princess is a moon. And so without one, there is not the other. And that's really important to know, because that's why we have royalty on Earth. And they're all just linked to the moon. That's the greatest, I know everyone's going to say it's like conspiratorial, but it's not. They're all part of the moon.
It wanted to start a fashion revolution.
Oh, I see. I get that. I get that now.
But I actually think it's funny you had your answer because it's Princess Week.
Oh, it's Princess Week.
But it's also Fashion Revolution Day.
Oh.
So perfect for today's episode.
Yes, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I have the special guest tea, some matcha. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it fashionable.
If you want to start a fashion revolution, don't do it by destroying other people's clothes.
That's a great idea. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.